Shorty, A Mech Warrior's Tale by Scott Moon. Chapter 1. The first thing you need to know is that 17 tons makes you a lightweight. That's the world I live in. The largest battle mech on the Doomsday planet is 500 short tons. Each of its 3 Gauss cannons can level a building with a single shot or punch a hole through a mountain. The heat sink for its energy weapons has never been pushed to its limit, which is to say it can fire almost continuously. Scariest enemy imaginable, if you're the type to stand there and punch it. Spoiler alert, I'm not, and I fear nothing. The Goliath. What a waste of resources. Too big not to fail. Asshole. The monster has everything from slug-throwing machine guns to mortars to long-range plasma cannons. It can scoop up rocks and launch them like hell's own catapult. I bet it even has a pilot's lounge like a starship. I saw it from a distance once, went the other way, snuck through some shadows, and raided the harbor it was defending. Did I mention the Big G can wade through most harbors? 50 to 100 tons is more standard. All the elite mech warriors drive machines in this weight class. If you know me, you're probably about to ask if that includes my twin sisters, Sheila and Stacy. Of course it does. The best weapons for the best fighters. That's the way it works here. They're UCOW hotshots for sure. Battle axe, class 45 tonners. Do they help a brother out? No. They call me Shorty because I'm small, just 17 tons. Today, I'm going to get respect. The field before me is littered with 500 years of destroyed machines. There are paths through the wreckage. I know them like any good ambush artist should. Hit and run. That's the ticket. I suspect nature buried more of our legacy than we will ever know. The reason we fight hasn't changed. Doomsday has an enormous supply of natural resources, especially metals and exotic elements. It's also a big, dense planet. The gravity is miserable without mechanization. Mechanics, engineers, and other critical support staff wear bodysuits that would make them pretty tough 1,000 years ago on another planet, but are just sufficient for them to do their jobs here. I try to stay away from the civilian softies because I draw fire. Why? Because I'm small. I'm Shorty. There isn't a mech warrior so big or so elite that he or she won't stop to pick some low-hanging fruit. But what I lack in mass, I make up for in knowledge of the terrain, all of which is stored in my computers, and some of the best technology on the planet. I'm fast, and I don't miss. How else would I stay alive? I have the foundry in sight, I say. 5 kilometers, 260 degrees true, low visibility and high local activity. Advise. Danielle answers, her voice so sexy I want to ask if she's got a filter on it and what she paid to sound like paradise. Not like I'm lonely or anything. Not at all obsessed with seeing her in person, even if it is just for a second. Before then, I'm likely to get stomped on or pulverized by an orbital bombardment. She flies a space-capable jet fighter that can live in the stratosphere. Must be nice to get resupplied from space and charge your ship's power plant with sunbathing solar panels. I'm picking up a lot of heat signatures on the defense grid. Very organized. Some kind of major operation going on down there. You're taking care of yourself, right? Staying low, managing your heat sinks, looking for targets before they look for you? She asks. You're my overwatch. Most of that's your job. I can't duck for you. Come down sometime and I'll show you how. Don't tempt me. I know Doomsday is a hellish mess, but watching it from on high makes me more curious every day. I fantasize about putting my boots on the ground. Several lurid thoughts involving her lack of boots race through my head, but what surprises me are more domestic images. Hanging out with her on the beach, learning what she actually looks like, handing her a cup of coffee. Are we talking about fantasies now? Because I have a couple. Don't gross me out. You're the one with the sexy voice filter. It's nice, isn't it? We have a son of a bitch of a dust storm moving in. I'm above it. No need to worry about my safety because I know you are. But I can't see diddly squat unless I go low enough to brush the mountaintops. Not terribly interested in dying. I scan the broken terrain with infrared, sonar, and laser rangefinders. Sensors in the feet of my mech pick up a lot of information when I'm not moving. Dying sucks. Do what you gotta do. I squat so low I look like a banged-up metal ball instead of a two-legged war machine. A lot of vibration down here. Can't see what's causing it yet. Some of that dust is blowing in. Also, got pollution from the foundry and something from the salvage maze around it. 3 lava flows run between me and my destination. I'm pretty sure I can jump them. My jets can push me higher than they would a bigger mech, and I retrofitted some expandable wings that give me a 100-meter glide in a pinch. I rarely use this last option because they're not durable. The first time I get hit with a plasma round or land wrong, I'm out the investment and probably stranded someplace where I'll be killed immediately. Better to leave flying to real pilots like Sexy Danielle. I really need to get a look at her someday. Meet her face to face. On the other side of this junkyard valley is the foundry. It's one of the 4 largest on the planet. Not the best, but that's part of its appeal. Most of the elite mechs are fighting over the Alpha and Bravo foundries. UCAO, UNA, the Greater Galactic Republic of France, GGRF, and the Chinese Communist Empire, CCE, are gnawing on the Alpha and Bravo region like jackals on a downed zebra. So what's the difference between the old world space-capable nations and the United Coalition of Worlds? Not all of them have land on the home world. That's the difference. Some risked everything during their great expansion, started completely over. "Why are you doing this, Chandler?" she asked. "That's not my name." "Is." Someone is going to pay for letting that slip. Chandler Michael Dane III is my full name. Don't tell anyone. Pretty sure I have warrants on Red Sun. "You haven't answered my question." A thought hits me with the force of epiphany. "You've been talking to Sheila and Stacy." "I've flown for them a few times." "Huh. They doing all right?" "What do you think?" "My sisters have skills I can barely believe. They're ruthless as fuck and have the full support of the UCAO. Anything they want, they get. Which used to make me pissed off when they never showed up to help a mercenary, like me. I bet they're getting by on their good looks and cutting wit. Kind of like me. You want to know why I'm attacking a foundry by myself? Well, it's about respect and reputation. Reputation is everything." Danielle sounds tired when she responds. "I thought you were planning to get off this rock. Apply for a real outfit someplace. Become part of a team." "I'm a lone wolf. Don't need help." Foxtrot Foundry specializes in industrial machinery. Only occasionally do they roll out military-grade gear. But I don't need much. Foxtrot will fix me up nicely. All I have to do is take it, hold it long enough for some retrofitting, and get out before anyone realizes the defenses are breached. Maybe I'll earn enough to go off-planet with all my gear. I've worked hard for this crap. Leaving it on Doomsday would break my heart. The foundries, even Foxtrot, are nearly impregnable. If they weren't, the warrior mechs would loot them. Each of these city-like fortresses has super-secret, quick-reaction forces nobody wants to mess with, not even UCAO or the UNA. Most of them are city-states unaffiliated with galactic superpowers. During the good times, they make a lot of money selling weapons. Charlie Foundry, set apart from the others on Brendan's continent, is, and always has been, UCAO. Great mechs get manufactured there, the kind they ship off-world to fight battles for the United Coalition of Worlds, rather than contest this shithole. Delta belongs to the UNA for now, but they didn't build it. They stole it from the CCE, after the CCE ran afoul of void trolls on Centro 23. The Chinese almost held on to the mech production foundry, but in the end, they had more than they could handle on Centro. The UNA shamelessly stole the facility while their attention was elsewhere. Since then, foundry security has become state-of-the-art. The ability to manufacture war machines is important to every galactic power, and Doomsday is the best place for it. Perfectly equipped, perfectly trained, the best of the best are paid a fortune to keep the riffraff, me and my friends for lack of a better term, out. If one superpower took the entire planet, they'd be unstoppable during planetary engagements. Void Fleet battle is another story, one I know nothing about and never will, because what kind of crazy asshole fights in space? Come on. Every couple of years, one of the foundries changes hands, and the balance of power shifts all across Doomsday. A short period of stability follows, while everyone consolidates their winnings. Interstellar trade routes reopen. Money rains from the sky, and people who want out get out. and dumbasses who want in foolishly drop into the atmosphere expecting to get rich quick or die trying. Not that I ever did that. I came here because of duty. Sure I did. This wasn't a great idea, I say, as I watch shapes move in the dusty gloom between my position and the foundry. I've advanced a kilometer since I last spoke with Danielle. Hidden, but vulnerable, I'm in a low spot. The fortress-like walls of the foundry resemble a medieval castle on a pile of metal skulls, except these skulls are mech cockpits, armored car bodies, and helicopter fuselages. A helicopter was a metal bug people piloted during the early days, back when rotating blades seemed more efficient than gravity bumpers and rocket turbines. No one has ever seen one fly here or has video of one flying, but a lot of us have weapons made from the blades. They're badass, like all things the long-extinct mech samurai invented. The gates of hell are opening from Foxtrot Foundry, FF, or maybe all the stims I've been taking are causing me to hallucinate. You hear me, Danielle? Wasn't listening, sorry. Trying not to die. Torrential winds up here, thank you. Cry me a river. You're worried about air, and I'm worried about a Gauss round hitting me in the face, traveling so fast the alloy projectile is turning to plasma about the time it strikes. Didn't catch that last part, Danielle says, but I'm good now. What were we talking about? I was saying I'm not sure this is a good idea. Speaking without thinking is a problem for me, because I spend most of my time solo. Danielle sounds so good, I'll run out of funds long before I get tired of her voice. I'd argue with you, she says, but I'm about 110% certain you're correct. I'm coming down to get a better view. I'm hoping to slip under this random-ass jet stream. Her close air support has been better. She's not doing much for me, and the static in our communications channel is horrific. It takes half my attention to figure out what she's saying, when I really only have 1 or 2% of my attention available. Okay, she mutters. That was bumpy. Trying to get some readings. If I drop any lower, I'm going to take rocket fire. Well, spill it. What's it look like? Static hisses and pops in my ear. Her voice comes through weakly, then so loud it nearly bursts my eardrums. I adjust the radio receiver volume in my cockpit. Well, there's some good news. Most of the movement down there is industrial. They're scooping up debris and hauling it inside Foxtrot like it's unobtainium. If you continue on your current heading half a kilometer and drift about 10 degrees south, you should have a good view of the operation. You go the other way, and you'll run into one of their patrols and be killed. See, that's why I like having you around, I say, already moving to the observation post. Cranes and jackhammers rip apart broken mechs, lost freight haulers, and crashed ships. Tons of debris are being loaded into massive trucks with wheels 10 meters high and driven to FF. Dust blows over the mountains of parts. Metal shavings from laser saws and hydraulic cutting tools fountain into the air. The engineers from FF are finishing a road that will be destroyed as soon as the salvage operation is completed. Otherwise, it would allow an easy approach, if there were a force large enough to make a frontal assault. But there isn't. There's just me. Whoever is running Foxtrot Foundry must be monitoring the 3 major battles happening on distant corners of the continent. I know about the major offensive against Alpha and Bravo foundries, because I applied to be part of the operation and was denied. Probably for the best. I would have been little more than cannon fodder. 17 tons is a lightweight mech. Nobody respects a 1-7. What else can you tell me, Danielle? I have an idea. The static clears momentarily. She whispers in my ear. Does it involve pretending you're a destroyed husk and getting shipped inside on one of those resource trucks? Because that's a dumb idea. I mean, it's cool, but dumb. Because it won't work. I'm running out of block leave. I'll need to get back to the UCOW for regular duty. I stall, faking radio problems. What was that? She asks. Don't you like my voice filter? Paid $49.99 quidati for it. Love it. You're totally going to stow away on one of those monsters. I keep stalling. Must be nice to take your ship on block leave. Everyone does it. Like I said, very convenient. And lucrative. Her suggestion was exactly what I had in mind, although I'd envisioned myself hijacking one of the trucks and driving it remotely while I rode in back. Probably too complicated to work well, especially since I'd have to fight and drive and manage remote links when the atmosphere is full of dust and ionization. I'm open to suggestions. She laughs. I should be mad, but the sound of her voice helps me relax. You're small. It could work, I guess, but probably not. Can I have your all-access tokens to Vlagdar 4 if you die? I had to pull back above the dust storm. Smooth sailing up here. You reading my signals? I hear you about 80%, but I'm reading your texts perfectly. Good. So now that I'm not fighting for my life, I have some free bandwidth. Pulling up the specs on those mining trucks and Foxtrot's standard operating procedures. I crouch as low as I can and creep around a pile of bullet-pocked wheels. It looks like someone's caravan got raided. The vehicles have been broken into component parts and piled in a valley of dead machines. Looks like an operation for a bunch of 100-ton lorries and an armed escort. I didn't see the escort, but they've got to be there someplace. Probably their patrol is doing double duty. I think you could dig into one of these trucks, but the tricky part is not being seen. The second you start throwing stuff out to manage your mass displacement, someone's going to get suspicious. Agreed. Can you drive one of the trucks remotely if I kill the crew? They don't have drivers. They're handled remotely from Foxtrot. That's why they don't range out very far. Up close, my plan looks unimaginative and unnecessarily dangerous. Half-baked ideas like this combined with overconfidence get mech pilots killed. Hesitation really isn't my thing. I'm not sure where the gut-purging fear is coming from. Something isn't right. Are you going to do this, Shorty? Hell yeah, I'm doing it. You going to give me a few extra hours on credit? I'm good for it. Silence. Then, I'll be your eyes until I get called away. Thanks, Danielle. I'll be sure to give you a bonus when I loot this place. Sure. We'll see about that. Chapter 2. Moving closer to my target, I assume the quiet bug position, squatting down until I look like a squarish metal ball that's seen better days. They don't teach the quiet bug in mech school. Invented the tactic myself. Security drones pass overhead, lasers scanning the terrain for intruders. I barely look at them. What has my attention is a huge lorry with tires taller than I am. The stainless steel bed is full of random parts. Danielle, tell me when the drones are at the other end of their sweep, I say. They'll be there in 30 seconds. Whatever you're doing, now's the time. She's abandoned the phone sex voiceover in favor of military precision. I like your real voice, I say in a rush, as I hustle between two parked vehicles to reach my target. What's not to like? I enjoy playing with filters. It's like getting your nails done up here. Not that I'll ever see you or the other mech warriors. That makes me think. We really do live in different worlds. I'm a ground pounder, and she's a fly girl. Maybe someday we'll meet on one of the space station resorts that serve the orbital spaceports. Or maybe not. Probably not. Something makes all the parts in the junkyard hop a millimeter. I duck behind one of the massive trucks and freeze. It doesn't take long to feel the vibrations of whatever's coming. Danielle, can you look around a bit? I think we're about to have a party crasher. She doesn't answer immediately, but I sense she's doing her job. I shoot my infrared gaze into the sky, but can't penetrate the thick smog of the foundry or the persistent dust storms. The rising sun turns everything orange and red. Have you ever seen the Goliath? I have, about a year ago. She laughs. What? Not like it's hard to spot. You are trying to tell me you've been here a year? That's like 3 times as long as most people last without being part of a UCOW expeditionary force. 5 years. United Coalition of Worlds, UCOW, the strongest human force in the galaxy after the United Nations of America. Excuse me? Why would she believe me? No one respects the little guy. I've been planet-side 5 years. It's not hard if you use brains, and if you're a small target. We're definitely talking about this later. Right now, you need to get in that lorry. The drones turned around early and picked up the pace, zooming straight back to get ready for the Goliath, I bet. And you're just telling me this now? I pop to my feet and sprint. Sweeping my vision side to side, I don't spot any security patrols or drones. I jump, land just short of the truck so that the force of my landing compresses my hips between my knees and gives me a kinetic rebound for the real jump. I fling myself into the air without using my jump jets. 17 tons makes a lot of noise slamming into a pile of metal and ceramic parts, unless an absolute master of jumping times it perfectly to impact the edge of the truck bed with a deft touch. "Nice," Danielle says. "I have video of that if you want it later." The lorry barely rocks under my landing. A thrill goes up my spine as I burrow into the salvaged parts. "Can you still hear me?" "The atmosphere is clearer than it was when we started this suicide mission," Danielle says. "I need to peel off for a while. They're going to get suspicious if they see me circling, now that the air is starting to clear. The Goliath is heading straight for Foxtrot Foundry. About 100 kilometers behind him, there's a smaller force of 30-ton mechs that are gaining on him." "Thanks, Sunshine." "That's not my call sign, Shorty." I know her real call sign, and I know she can't use it because she's on the clock. The UCOW garrison force frowns on double-dipping, and dereliction of duty, and treason, and about any other crime they might want to pin on her if she gets caught helping me and not paying the right people their kickbacks. I wiggle deeper into the tangled detritus of war. It's cozy for about 5 minutes. Then I start to freak out a little bit, even though it's easy to shut off sensory input from outside my armor. Like the pilot, a mech needs to rest. I've seen rookies make this mistake, especially those who have the backing of a large military infrastructure. They break shit and just expect it to be replaced. That doesn't work in the real world, not for mercenaries and soldiers fighting for small organizations. So I rest when I can and power down as often as possible. 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. 3 weeks when things go really badly. An alert chimes in my ear about the time I'm nodding off. Sleep calls to me like a lotus dream. The moment I touch it, it becomes my fantasy and everything I desire. All I want is to stop and rest. "Pressure alert. Pressure alert. If this warning has been received in error, please contact your manufacturer. Pressure alert." Fun fact, battle mechs are environmentally sealed, which means I can feel the pressure unless I want to start venting atmosphere I may need later. It's time to move. I power up, wondering where the drones are and why I haven't heard from Danielle for the last 15 or 20 minutes. I can feel the Goliath pounding ever closer. I can also hear cutting saws and bulldozers pushing piles of junk aside so they can get at the good stuff. One of the harvest crews dumped something on me. If I wasn't already in the lorry, I'd be worried I was getting driven over. A thought bothers me. What if they dumped me out while I was half asleep and I am getting driven over by a bulldozer? "Danielle, do you copy?" "I have you, Shorty. I'm off on the horizon, so don't expect direct observation from me. The Goliath is about to make his wrath known, so be warned." "Thanks. I feel like I'm getting crushed. Can you see what's happening?" "I'm too far away and the angle is bad. From what I can see, it looks like they're still just loading lorries and running them inside FF." I brace my arms and legs to support my torso, somewhat like a jiu-jitsu fighter trying not to be crushed by an aggressive opponent. This will work for a while. I've done it before. Sooner or later, though, I need to move or hope the load gets transported inside. That would be the best scenario. I was actually hoping to wake up inside my destination, with all the riches of Foxtrot Foundry at my disposal. Having a powerful imagination is another key skill to master in order to survive on Doomsday. "I need to clear out. The sky is getting hot. Lots of ships heading to another battle on the coast. Something's happening. If you're not inside, you should consider aborting," Danielle says, her voice distorted by static. Unfamiliar emotions, self-doubt and fear, ice me down. Man, it would have been cool to get just a little rest. I run cables out from my left gauntlet, 5 snaking cameras to see what's outside of the pile of junk concealing me. I notice a couple of things right away, most notably that I'm really high now. The truck has driven up the temporary road and is about to dump me into a sorting area inside the foundry's outer wall. "I've got a problem, Danielle." She doesn't answer. Thousands of tons of junk spill into a huge walled-in area I'm unlikely to escape from. Some clever bastard was thinking. This place is like a quarantine zone for machines. "Sunshine." No answer. Are you gone, or am I out of credit? Nothing. Retracting my camera snakes, I push out of my hiding place. The walls, seeming much higher from in here, allow a limited view of the sky. Rockets streak away from FF, reflecting on the debris in the air. Static deafens me, so I mute my radio and glance frequently at the alert icons, which don't tell me much. Hundreds of rockets are streaking across the sky. Danielle, are you there? A lorry backs up to the ramp above me and rains down metal, ceramics, raw materials, and broken machines from the graveyard maze around Foxtrot. Throwing up one arm to protect my cockpit and sensors, I move to a corner and build a shelter from old armored cars and oversized gears. Dust fills the sorting chamber until the only way to see it is with advanced optics, which aren't the best. If you can hear me, Danielle, I have to climb out. If security sees me, especially the QRF, I'm toast. My expensive Overwatch ship is gone or ignoring me. I am left to hope and pray the QRF are still on patrol or manning the gate in anticipation of the approaching Goliath. Not convenient, sunshine. Not my call sign, she says from a great distance. It's no use. She's out of pocket and no help to me now. Maybe she'll come back. Maybe she'll flirt with me before I die. Outside Foxtrot, the Goliath launches its attack. If we were friends, I'd be happy, but the arrogant juggernaut isn't good at sharing, and I may have spread a few nasty lies about him to the mercenary job board. Who would have thought we'd meet like this? Really, what are the odds? I wiggle free of the debris and start climbing a wall. It's a slow, laborious process because the wall isn't made to hold 17 tons of awesome. I'm small, but the laws of physics are a persistent annoyance, even to me. The wall of the sorting chamber crumbles twice, forcing me to start over at the bottom. It's been carved into foundational bedrock, or I'd never get out. Rockets and plasma weapons fill the small portion of sky I can see. Danielle continues the silent treatment. I tell myself I'm doing better than normal because I've got plenty of ammunition. Haven't fired a single shot. So it's a perfect mission so far, is what I'm trying to say. I grab the top and rest. 3 minutes pass as I allow my heat sinks to cool. I'll need them ready to go if my escape gets nasty, which it will. Activate full sensor array and countermeasures. My words sound metallic on the closed circuit. Unlike most AI-enhanced mechs, mine isn't allowed to talk back. It's set to use the minimum number of words. As for personality, it has none. Icons glow in my HUD. My commands have been acknowledged and carried out. During normal operations, the ambient light inside my cockpit is green. When I run a clear, unfiltered visor, everything is painted orange, red, or brown, depending on the time of day. Right now, everything is a shade of cool blue. Maybe I should give my AI a voice. Maybe buy the voice filter Danielle's been using. What would be a good name for the deadliest combat AI on Doomsday? Enemy forces, 3. Each sending a scout drone ahead of them. Friendly forces, none. Terrain, steep. Winding passage, rising toward our location. Time, contact. Our location? Yes, Chandler Michael Dane III and Kai 017 Doomsday. I'm not always freaked out when Combat Artificial Intelligence 017 Doomsday communicates self-awareness, but when I am, it makes me want to piss through my fluid reclamation membranes. Ceiling and door lights flicker, which I take as a sign that Kai has deployed sensor countermeasures. Continue, I say as I slide over the edge of the junk pit and look for a doorway leading out of the large workroom. Time. Contact is imminent. Recommendation. Avoid contact. Can't argue with that, but there's no place to hide. I move to one side of the door and ready short-range weapons, shotgun, plasma pulse hammer, and the spike. The last death tool snaps in and out of my left forearm vambrace on command, silent as good engineering and modern lubricant can make it. I feel it lock and release several times, which is reassuring. There's no way I'll be able to use my helicopter blade sword in here. Might save it for a more photogenic venue, someplace Danielle can film an aerial shot, because that'd be cool as fuck. Drones in 15 seconds, Kai warns. Energy primes my plasma hammer, a box on the front of my torso. When I trigger the short-range weapon, Compressed gas will discharge into a layer of carbon fiber, mitigating its dissipation and superheating the durable microlayer being slammed forward faster than the human eye can follow. It's like shooting gel into a balloon, so the balloon can flash forward and burst on contact, except about 983 times faster, with corresponding shock waves. Drones swarm into the room, 1 low and 3 high, scanning every surface with laser rangefinders. Bracing my feet, I deploy the plasma hammer, slamming half-vaporized drones into the walls. "Grenades recommended," Kai says. "Hate it when you read my mind," I say, launching from my left shoulder arsenal. They're small, but they bounce and fill the hallway nicely. "Deploy drones to check damage." "We have no drones. Cables recommended." Crossing to the doorway, I extend metal-sheathed cables from both hands until they reveal everything around the corner. Foxtrot Foundry security bots lie in smoking ruins. "Plasma hammer, powering down," Kai says. No response required. None given is my motto. I clear the area and map the first hallway. Everything goes in the database. Kai sorts and stores measurements and other observed details of the facility. "Recommended. Locate security hub where I can hack the Foxtrot system and locate the items on your shopping list." I don't respond with pleasantries. Talking to your Kai is a rookie mistake. It's not a person. No need to be polite or get emotionally attached, says the guy looking for a woman's sultry voiceover. The security hub on the last raid was heavily defended. Let's keep that as a someday maybe option, depending on what we find. Chapter 3. What we find is a conveyor belt loaded with parts. It's heading downward into the bowels of the planet. Weird. The strangeness doesn't bother me because we have hit the jackpot. I've hit the jackpot. Not we. I. My Kai has me thinking this is a team event when it's just me and my gear. The mech suit is a tool, a weapon of war and nothing more. My actions make it good or bad. Or more importantly, make me rich or poor. The combat AI isn't a part of my team, and neither is it my buddy. I know because I once tried to get it to buy me a beer, and it refused. Danielle's voiceover filters tickle my memory when I need to focus on exploring the deep recesses of Foxtrot Foundry. Why she gotta flirt? Maybe she's as lonely as I am. Sensor scan, I order. Seconds tick by. I crouch and turn in a slow circle, weapons ready. The ceiling is high for juggernauts of war and industrial transport machines. I've got plenty of headroom. The Kai icon pops up in my HUD. "There is no patrol due in this area for another 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Which way to go? Should I follow the parts or head topside, where my escape will be easier, but possibly with a smaller payoff? The devil is in the details. During one of my embarrassingly frequent periods of unemployment, whenever my mech is busted or out of fuel, I do some manual labor. I know about assembly lines. This conveyor belt is made of steel-belted rubber, an industrial grade designed to withstand extremely heavy loads. It can stop kinetic projectiles just from sheer thickness. The wheels beneath it are large and reinforced. The gears and chains could shift mountains. The parts the belt is moving don't do it justice. This assembly line is made for something bigger, top-of-the-line battle mechs, or even spaceship parts. I'm going to follow it. Neither my Kai nor Danielle respond. Both have access to my private, encrypted tactical channel. Their indifference wounds me deeply. Sure it does. Twice I duck into doorways to avoid wheeled security drones. Once I see a humanoid figure at the end of a hallway, but he or she or it is preoccupied with a hand slate. "Recommended. Acquire the enhanced ammunition magazine for Gauss rounds. It will work for Shorty." Thanks for the heads up. And watch who and what you call Shorty. That's my cross to bear, you bucket of bolts. "My construction is bolt-free, nor do I have other moving parts." I scan the hallway for enemies. Grabbing the magazines, I spot several rail guns that will fit my mech. Each has advantages, so I pick one at random and drag it free of the fast-moving conveyor. It takes too long to lock to the magnets on my back, but the time investment is worth it. ammunition, batteries large and small, precision ball bearings that are only made in one system near the other side of the galaxy, and best of all, a system backup for all my combined computer components, including the Kai. This place has it all. The internal security is as weak as I suspected. The only real danger is the Goliath outside. Dust shakes from support beams as it pounds its way through the outer gates, exchanging rocket fire with the defense turrets and QRF security mechs. Thanks for the diversion, Goliath. Recommendation: leave old batteries in favor of new. These are top quality. Kai is driving me toward the edge. He, she, whatever, talks more while on mission. The rest of my life on Doomsday is blissfully quiet. If I wanted a nagging Kai boss, I would have bought one of the upgrades. Fine, but if these crap out in 2 days, I'm having you decommissioned. That would be prudent, I agree. Simple mistakes shouldn't be tolerated from advanced thinking machines, especially those programmed to kill. You can't kill anything without me in the cockpit. True. Kai pauses. Does this reassure you? Nothing on Doomsday reassures me. Do another sensor scan. We've been too lucky down here. Scan underway. Several hangars flank the next level of the conveyor passage. 3 are empty, but the 4th has a newer version of my mech, still about 10 years out of date, but undamaged from combat deployment. If I could swap the guts of my current machine, including the Kai, I'd do it right now. Sadly, that's a lot harder than it should be, especially with the ground jumping from whatever the hell Goliath is doing to the defenders of FF. Recommendation, shut the hell up. I'm sending this beauty to a rendezvous near Redmouth Canyon. Yes, that computes. My Kai sounds moody, which is probably a bad sign. I can sell it on the black market for near full value. Of course. Don't get excited about wearing a new mech, Kai. I'll wipe your system just to prove a point. I'm driving this mech, not you. Yes, that is correct. Why would I want that kind of responsibility? Kai asks. How we doing? Security scan shows no need for recommendations. Area clear. There is chatter on radio channel 55 Bravo about a captured pilot. Mech or airship? I ask. Airship. Space capable. Danielle. I flip to 55 Bravo and listen, but I need to get moving. Finding and programming my new mech to steal itself put me way behind my timetable. Driving hard, I run down the final ramp to the lower levels. Shorty to Sunshine, do you copy? No response. Kai, is there a problem with our comms? You should be slaving broadcast strength from Foxtrot. There is no problem with the signal. Balls. Time to pick up the pace. Map me a route to the remaining parts on my list. Already done. Check your HUD. I want an updated course. This one sucks. That is the best and safest route. This way has a 58% chance of success. Using retinal screen tapping, I suggest a few changes. How about now? Chance of success is now 11%, plus or minus 5%. Fine. We'll do it your way. I make 3 more attempts to raise Danielle, call sign Sunshine, and get nothing. When I reach the lowest level of Foxtrot Foundry, I understand why it's a secret. I've never been a fan of the massively huge battle mechs, and not just because I can only afford this recon unit. A 500-ton unit like Goliath has a tendency to sink. There are many battlefields where it is less than ideal. Having said that, I dream about a 23-ton machine known as the Archer. My unit, back when it was still in production, was called the Ranger. The Archer class is the next step up in combat efficiency. It's made not only to scout, but to raid. There's a row of them in standby mode just inside the door of this massive chamber. I could climb out of this unit and steal one right now. It's better than the one I programmed to steal itself, with the main intention of harvesting its parts. I want an Archer mech so bad it hurts. There's a problem with this ridiculous windfall, however. It's twofold. 1, Danielle is in trouble. Sure, she could just be silent because she was called back to her real job, but my gut says she's in over her head. Probably wounded or captured by one of the many hostile forces on Doomsday. 2, I just discovered something that will get me killed. This kind of knowledge is worth more than my life in any possible scenario I can imagine. Beyond the line of archers are 100 Excaliburs. Rumor has it these are the ultimate killing machines. 48 tons of exquisitely engineered warfighting technology, all made from the best materials available. 100 Excaliburs could win a war between the major superpowers. I'd steal an Excalibur if I could afford to keep it running. Recommendation: take what you have and leave while you can. Wouldn't you rather exist in one of the archers? A series of clicks precedes the Kai response. Of course, but there is no time. It's better to exist in an undersized, underpowered framework than to be turned off. The robot voice is more pronounced. It's like the computer algorithm has turned off any pretense of emotion to protect itself. The course I mapped for you leads through the middle of this chamber. I suggest gathering as much information on these units as possible in case you face them in the future or find something you can sell to the highest bidder. I'm already moving. By the time he finishes this little speech, I'm halfway through the silent machines. The scary part is they're on standby. It wouldn't take much to mobilize this force. I glance back, which involves looking at screens in my cockpit rather than actually turning my head, at the archers, and regret not taking the time to steal one. But the mech I sent to my rendezvous point will have to be enough to outfit me. Beyond this chamber are several silos full of raw, exotic elements. I can't use these, but they're too valuable to pass up. Once I've grabbed some samples, I sprint back to where I came in and shop for parts and supplies to fill my list. All I can think about is Danielle and the machines I left behind. The only sound that interrupts my thoughts is the incessant pounding from the battle above. Goliath is giving the FF quick reaction forces hell. The closer I get to the surface, the more everything shakes and jumps under my feet. We are approaching the exit, Kai says. Wow, I'm glad I spent the big bucks on your analytical capacity. Recommendation: install humor and sarcasm subroutines. Your behavior indicates you desire this type of interaction. It's actually not a bad idea. I reach the launch bay, which looks like it would be on a battleship, except the area beyond the opening is the main yard of Foxtrot Foundry, rather than the void of space. It's full of dust and debris. I'm getting heat readings and see sparks blowing on the wind. Is it too late to find a different way out of this foundry? Yes. I take a deep breath, sucking hyper-oxygenated air through a supplement tube, and start forward at a moderate pace. I want to be moving quickly, but retain the ability to accelerate. Kai, please go into combat mode. With very few exceptions, this means everything I need to know will happen on my heads-up display. Some pilots like their combat artificial intelligence programs to not only give tactical updates, but to encourage them. I don't need encouragement. When you're a lightweight in a world of heavyweights, motivation becomes ingrained. Every moment on the battlefield for me is life or death. Still, I would appreciate a little feedback on how awesome I am. Perhaps a well-timed joke would take the suck out of getting smacked around like a rag doll. Who knows? I'm not actually late to this fight, because the defense of Foxtrot Foundry isn't my responsibility. If their QRF wants to get their asses handed to them, that's their business. It'd be neat to see, but spectating can be a gateway drug to full-fledged combat. I snake my cameras around the corner and see one of the QRF mechs evaporate under a stream of autocannons fire. The Goliath is too big to stand on one leg and kick, but it can punch. It slaps one of the FF guard mechs so hard, it sends the unit through several feet of reinforced concrete. All of this happens while the Goliath is still forcing its way through the triple reinforced gates. Recommendation: continue to hide. I stride into the main courtyard. The mechanical monstrosity stares at me as the dust settles. It grunts and curses through its external speaker, using the line-of-sight radio link. What do you want, Shorty? Hey, it's not about me. You've got needs. I thought you might want a real fight. Goliath laughs. Dust and debris shake free from its massive structure. The walls stand taller than Goliath, but not by much. I like you, Shorty. You make me laugh. These Foxtrot mechs were assholes. Are you going to be an asshole too? Kai whispers in my earbud. Recommendation: run for it. Way ahead of you, Kai. With that, I dash between the massive legs of Goliath. He tries to step on me, clipping me on the shoulder and sending me to the ground. I push back to my feet and get knocked down again. I do a ninja roll, never easy in a mech. Goliath laughs.
Like I said, Shorty, you make me laugh.
I aim a Gauss rifle straight up and fire into his crotch. It's mostly symbolic, but there can be weak points on the underside of these units. Not that he's going to feel it like he would in a real street fight. It's a thought that counts.
You're a little bastard.
I run for cover, earning a few extra seconds of life. Why don't you let me go, big guy? What did I ever do to you?
You told all those girls on Vlagdar 4 that I had sex with goats, and they believed you. Charge me double now, and some won't serve me at all.
He slammed a fist into the ground, nearly obliterating me.
That won't stand, Shorty. You gotta pay.
Kai makes about 5 different recommendations, which I ignore. Jumping high, I slam my feet on the Goliath's knees to propel myself upward. If I can get close to his cockpit, I can put a Gauss round into the faceplate and at least force him to stop for repairs before he activates his energy weapons. The cockpit only vaguely resembles a head and is mounted on gears and lever points. What I'm saying is that Goliath is able to bend forward at the waist, headbutting me across the courtyard. I slam into the wall, then fall to the ground, landing arms and legs akimbo, with all of my alerts blaring. Stars dance in my vision, and I think it'd be nice to go to sleep, just for a little bit.
Be smart, stay down.
I hear him, but his tone is shit. What makes him think just because he's 25 times my size, I'll let him push me around? Ain't gonna happen, jackass. I'm rolling to my feet and moving laterally as I speak, always presenting a moving target. Goliath stomps closer.
I know all about you. You're the little guy with the big mouth.
That's not what your girlfriend says about me. I jump over a fallen section of wall.
Everybody knows Shorty, because you owe most of us money, and you make bad decisions, like pissing me off. You're lucky I've got better things to do than...
I pull the 2-handed helicopter blade sword and hold it in front of me like a samurai of ancient times. Then you've probably heard I never miss. Startled, and perhaps a bit confused, he takes a small step back. A big step, in absolute terms, of course.
What are you going to do with that thing?
I'm going to get famous for splitting your big fat head. I leap at him, extending my wings 1/4 of their span to give me extra lift, with only a brief pulse of my jump jets. Sailing directly over him, I slash off one of his sensor arrays. He turns with frightening speed, but still much slower than me. I land on the other side and face him, presenting the sword like an action hero. There's more where that came from, I say.
I'm gonna smash you like a bug.
Only if you catch me. I repeat the maneuver, but at a slightly different angle. Goliath shoots up one massive hand and grabs me by my left leg. Seconds later, I'm being hurled through a guardhouse. Things get a little crazy after that. I fire 2 missile barrages, barely scratching his armor, but blinding him for several seconds. He fires back with a fraction of his capabilities, forcing me to retreat to avoid permanent damage. Something seems off. It's like he's embarrassed we're fighting, doesn't want his friends seeing what he's doing. Or, just maybe, he's expecting trouble from the Excaliburs I found in standby mode down below. That must be the reason he's here, and why squads of other mechs, according to Danielle's aerial surveillance, are headed this way as fast as they can move. Foxtrot is about to become a major battle. My time here is running out. I don't do major battles because they're slugfests that rely on armor thickness and volume of weapons fire. What happens next is confusing, because I don't remember trying to race between his legs again. Pulling the same trick twice in one fight is never a good idea. I know this. But I must have done it while my bell was still ringing, because he grabs me and starts to crush me with his hands. A familiar voice interrupts our radio argument. "Put the annoying baby mech down," says my sister Sheila. I hang by one foot as Goliath considers the new threat. My other sister, Stacy Dane, joins in. "He's not worth the trouble, Goliath, but we are."
Fucking Dane family reunion is what this is,
Goliath growls.
The 3 of you could slow me down enough to ruin my mission, and I'm not going to let that happen. That doesn't mean I'm just going to let this little asshole walk.
Hey, if you're going to let me go, can you put me up on the wall? I really don't feel like climbing it. Thanks in advance, I say.
I'll put you in hell.
My sister ignores this thing that's about 10 times her size. Your girlfriend Danielle crashed her fancy airship. Probably no big deal since the U-Cow will replace it, but Blade Corps scavengers picked her up. They're kind of shitty. This isn't great news for me because I owe them money. Am I going after Danielle? Hell yeah. I'm not going to leave my pilot hanging. Is it a mistake to go after her? Absolutely. Thanks for the information, sis. Are you here on a mission? I ask, thinking about what I saw below. Just a chance for a fight. We've been dogging Goliath for weeks, Sheila says, circling Goliath in tandem with Stacy. Both my sisters are stocked with state-of-the-art weaponry. They're smaller than Goliath, but the pilot of that big monster is smart enough to be careful.
Hey, why you been creeping on me? What gives? You two got the hots for me?
Goliath bumps his fists together, ready for a nasty fight. I ignore his bravado. Listen up, sis. There are 100 Excalibur-class mechs and other high-dollar units stockpiled under FF. They're ready for war. I'm pretty sure that's why the Goliath is here. This changes everything. My sisters summon reinforcements and hit the Goliath with everything they have. I climb to the top of the wall and leap toward the canyon below. Danielle told me there were 30 mechs in pursuit of Goliath. Now it makes sense. Sure, he's unpopular, but there's another reason mech pilots have teamed up to take this place. Chapter 4. Nothing satisfies like leaping from the top of a fortress wall and punching jump jets up to full burn. Snapping my wings as wide as they go, leaning forward, I adjust the pitch and yaw for maximum effect. G-forces grab me as I bank a tight corner. The maze of debris below doesn't look as complicated from up here. It sprawls for miles in every direction, testimony to the many battles we've fought. All hell breaks loose in and around Foxtrot Foundry. Mechs from 3 different military organizations swarm the walls in a coordinated effort, far more effective than any mercenary outfit could pull off. I use too much fuel, but what of it? Clipping the last pile of junk with my feet, I land and take off at a run. My short wings snap back in with a reassuring thunk. It's like I'm doing everything right, and my gear is the best there is. Yeah, baby. It's not the best, of course, but I take care of it and constantly improve it. This misadventure is taking me away from the rendezvous point I programmed for the mech. I need the parts from that walking treasure chest, but I also need to find Danielle. I don't care that I'm not the biggest war machine on Doomsday. Skill, tenacity, and bravery has to mean something. My bad attitude has brought me this far. Why change now? What happens next might be considered routine and tedious to some, but I'm telling you, I have this jam down to a science. The first thing I do is check comms for Danielle. Hey, Sunshine, you copy? No response. I plot a course using terrain features to conceal my movement while still providing a decent view of the area. With a fraction of my attention, I monitor official channels for downed pilots and see that it was, in fact, a U-Cow airship that went missing. No further details are available. Mercenary forums aren't much help, just a lot of chatter that pisses me off. Apparently, I'm not the only one who thinks Danielle sounds sexy. Mercs like me, the men and the women both, are pigs. They talk a lot of shit. They all want to do her. Classy. Bunch of asswagons. I'm going to throat punch someone whenever I make it to the bar most of us frequent. My Overwatch pilot is a lady. Don't be talking about her like that, you motherfuckers. Down in the canyon, I mute communications and put my full time and attention to the task at hand. This is ambush country. I've used it dozens of times to take out enemies and raid equipment convoys. The sun's going down, casting everything in shadows like dried blood. The haze from the dust storms has risen to a higher altitude. Ships slice across the upper atmosphere from one of the orbital platforms toward a base on the far side of the planet. The sky is beautiful, like a white spider web in a crimson bowl. Just another world war happening on Doomsday. Feels like home. Looks like an epic landscape. Smells like sweat and balls because, hey, Long hours in a mech leave a guy feeling less than fresh. I pause to memorize the contrails from the ships in the red sky. Mental scrapbook. Images I'll think about someday when I'm dying. Dread and malaise wash over me. This planet isn't meant for humans. It's just a place to build weapons and kill each other. And I can't remember much of my previous life. Sure, I have an intellectual understanding of what I did before coming to the Doomsday Planet, but none of it seems real. Doesn't mean diddly fuck now. Kai alerts me with a series of soft beeps. Hostile forces approaching. Recommendation: observe and identify. No further analysis available without additional information. I stop. That's not always the best thing to do when faced with a possible ambush. My gut says it's right this time, so that's what I do. None of my sensors pick up good locations on my enemies, only a general direction of where this threat could be coming from. I have 3 options. There's a rock spire I could climb and use to overwatch the area, but doing so would make me visible to anyone paying attention. There's a system of caves on one side of the canyon providing concealment and a way to watch whatever's coming, but could leave me pinned with no escape route. The last option, the one that I instinctively reject, is to head deeper into the maze and keep moving. This choice might allow me to bypass the intruders entirely. A great idea if I didn't need information. The coward's path would lead me away from my airship pilot. Kai, can you tell me if these units are in the right area to have seen or caused Danielle's ship to go down? Approaching units are using sensor dispersion technology, unable to calculate how many of them there are. As to your question, given the rate of travel, they are very likely to have seen or at least been in the area of the crash. That's good enough for me. I slink into the shadows of a cave and observe their approach. Seconds after I'm in position, I see 3 Blade Corps mechs stalking into the canyon. I think they're looking for me. Kai makes a series of clicks that sound like laughter, despite the fact the unit has no personality software installed. Analysis. You are correct. Picking up encrypted nonverbal communications now. I'm unable to determine what they're saying exactly, only that they're using binary messaging. They're texting each other? Essentially, yes. What do you think they're saying? Once again, I cannot fully decrypt their communications without more time, but they seem to be referring to you as male genitalia. Someone is getting throat punched. My cave, as it turns out, is occupied. It's full of doomsday spiders, massive things the size of my head. I'm not afraid of arachnids, but these ooze dark green slime from their fanged smiles. Super creepy. Hello, beasties. They chitter their weird language and scurry over each other anxiously, hissing at me, but not ready to get stepped on. My real problem is in the canyon. The Blade Corps mechs come into view. They're broadsword models, similar to archers but built off-world. They're good, but not ideal for this environment. From what I can see, they've been here long enough to adapt. All of them have truck tire treads lashed to their feet to keep them from sinking in sand. They wear clothing of a sort, weatherproof tarps that have faded into a crude version of camouflage. Yeah, I know they don't need clothing, but what can I do? No one listens to me. The tarps are weak camouflage on a battlefield where everyone uses advanced optics. What can I say? They're idiots. From this distance, they could be human travelers, instead of deadly killing machines outweighing me by several tons each. To make the situation more dire, they're moving like professionals. Maybe they're a higher class of mercenaries than common to Blade Corps, or maybe they're prior military. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm still outnumbered and I'm small. Didn't stop you from talking trash to Goliath, did it, Chandler Michael Dane III? I wonder if these dudes are afraid of doomsday spiders. Doubtful, Kai drones, unless you can remove their armor. And who says combat AIs can't show creativity? That's a great idea. I have no recommendations on how to cause this to happen. No worries, Kai. Just go with the flow. This term is nonsensical in the context of our current situation. The BC units enter a section of the canyon I can't see. Their view of the caves won't be blocked for long. I drop to a new ledge, then slip north in search of a good place to fight. Ambush is my specialty, and I have an idea. If they're traveling where I think they will, they'll have to cross water. They're big enough to ford the rapids, and so they probably will. That's when I'll introduce myself. Moving like a big, heavily armed metal cat toward the canyon the Blade Corps mechs have just passed through, I set smoke grenades with remote detonators. The trick is getting in position to attack. Finding my way around them to the ambush point takes time, but I'm patient. This isn't my first rodeo. The BC dudes are perfectly predictable in their attempt to randomize their patrol pattern. There's really only one way they can go, and I beat them to it. Kai, plot rocket trajectories for targets 1 and 2. I'll handle 3 myself. Yes, sir. I aim my Gauss rifle while the combat artificial intelligence of my mech primes micro-rockets and sets targets. With weather and distance factored in, Kai won't miss. Target selection and surprise is the key. 3, 2, 1, go. I set off the smoke grenades, then activate my Gauss rifle. Aim, breathe, shoot. The first shot kills the leader. His mech chugs to a stop and slumps with a hole in the cockpit visor and blood painting the insides. Rockets batter the other 2 while they're investigating the smoke rolling over them from the other direction. I jump, then flare my jets to cushion my landing, swinging my massive sword the moment my balance is set. The broadsword mechs are about 20 tons heavier and a meter taller than me, not a huge difference for a one-on-one fight. I'm accustomed to facing big enemies, and by the time they figure out what's happening, there's only one left, and he's shocked at the audacity of a small mech attacking 3 larger adversaries. Jumping, flipping, and landing on his back, I drive the war machine to its knees with my 17 tons. Sheathing my sword, I plant my fist against the BC mech's head. What's your name, Merc? You're a mercenary too. Don't get on your high horse. Name? Eugene. Okay, Eugene. You can climb out of that piece of shit you're piloting, or I can rip you out. Your friends don't look like talkers, being dead and all, so you'll have to do. I shove Eugene deeper into the cave. Without infrared optics, he can't see much. Probably all he can pick out with his naked eye is a mass of writhing monsters. Not far from the truth, actually. What the hell is that sound? Eugene covers his ears and pushes back, trying to get around my 17-ton Ranger-class mech. His flight suit gives him the strength to walk and filters the air, but has all the protective power of pajamas. I ain't so small now, am I, jerkface? Not sure what pajamas are, but I've heard people use the term. Some kind of clothing they wore on Earth a long time ago. Non-tactical. Definitely not made of carbon fiber or enhanced with hydraulics and pressure sleeves. Eugene falls, gets up, looks for an escape route that doesn't exist. Please, what do you want from me? Why did you drag me up to your cave? It's not my cave, you idiot. Relax. I just want some information, and noticed the data was wiped from your broadsword. And it's not my cave. When you say it that way, it sounds perverted, like I'm bringing you up here to do something to you. You're not going to hurt me? I didn't say that. I mean, I'm not going to do anything weird. I'm going to let the critters take care of that. Huh? Are you afraid of doomsday spiders, Eugene? Color drains from his face. He starts crying. No, 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 anything but that. What do you want from me? Where's the pilot you pulled from the crash this morning? Fuck, that's all you wanted? He sniffled. I would have just told you. Then why wipe it from your mech computers? We never record information like that. Standard procedure in case we lose a unit. Nothing special about the pilot, besides that sweet ass. Hey, watch your mouth. I'm sorry. Please keep those things back. Is she your girlfriend? Don't worry about it. I hand him a data pad. Punch in the coordinates. Then you'll get me out of this cave? I won't push you farther in. He squeaked a word I didn't catch. Fine, relax. Why are you such a little bitch? Give me the coordinates and I'll carry you outside. Wiping his runny nose and eyes with the sleeve of his jumpsuit, he types on the pad. Thanks, man. Knew you were cool. No matter what they say on the mercenary boards. What do they say? You're a loudmouth jerk with an ego bigger than your mech. Stuff like that. Dance like a broken mining drone. You know, right? Yeah, Eugene, I read the boards. Better not find you talking that kind of shit after this, or I'll come after you. He laughs. You won't get the drop on me twice.
And your mech is still just a ranger.
You do like spiders. I let the thread hang as he finishes typing.
That's it. Her exact location. Even put in the coordinates of the defensive countermeasures.
Why would you do that? He squirms. Where are the rest of your friends?
Nowhere. There's just the three of us in this cell, trying to make ends meet. The U-Cow pays a bounty for recovered personnel and materials.
They don't pay for hostages, Eugene. Do I look like I fell off the rookie truck? Eugene shrugs guiltily. He was almost certainly going to sell her on the slave market. He probably still hopes I'll get killed, and he can drag Danielle to one of the black market towns, where AI banks will harvest her mind for piloting skills, and brothels will take the rest of her. Eugene adds detail to the schematic.
That's everything I know. Sorry. Please, man, don't freaking kill me.
Climb up and I'll carry you down to the next ledge. Then you're on your own. Consider it payback for trying to trick me. I know you have guards at your base, and they're probably expecting trouble.
I don't know what you're talking about.
A few minutes later, I dump him on the ledge. You better start running. The spiders come out to eat at night. The defensive countermeasures are actually pretty good stuff. I find them easily with the surprisingly accurate information provided by Eugene, and gather up a large pile of explosives. Are you going to throw those at the Blade Corporation mercenaries? Kai asks. You bet. May I make a recommendation? Absolutely, as long as it helps me win. Eyes are watching me. My hopes of facing another 3 instead of an entire squad are slipping away. They have lookouts, roving patrols, and their own QRF. There's no way I'm getting Danielle out of here and not dying in the process. I really must make a recommendation, Kai says. Fine, but you're annoying me. I need to concentrate. My long-range sensors and monitoring of the combat channels suggest Foxtrot Foundry has fallen. Perhaps your siblings would help if you asked. No fucking way. And have them hold that over my head every time we go home for the holidays? Negative. You have never been home during the time I've served as your Kai. 5 years now. Analysis says you will never be able to afford a lift from this planet with or without your gear. And by gear, I mean me. Why do you computer program types always hit me with facts? That's cheating. In a real argument, whoever yells loudest and breaks the most stuff wins. This does not seem possible. Is that how organics settle their differences? I don't dignify the question with an answer. Sir, you must ask for help. I load explosives in each hand and wind up to throw them. An easy thing for a mech. Please reconsider, sir. I have located many documented incidents during which Kai units were destroyed and not recovered after this type of poor decision. Less talking, more helping me win. The predicted trajectories of the improvised bombs light up my HUD screen. I like where your artificially intelligent head is at. The first handful of explosives arc high and are still falling toward the center of the camp when the other handful strikes a rock formation on the left. It is not too late to send a distress call. What do you have to prove, sir? Everything. Sprinting like a demon, I run the perimeter of the camp, shooting 2 of the patrols before they know what hit them. The pilots aren't even hurt. My weapons don't pack that kind of punch, unfortunately. Their mechs, however, sputter to a stop. The QRF emerges from the flames and flying debris of my makeshift artillery barrage. I am detecting angry words on their comm channels. Mute all channels. I draw my sword for close work. My first opponent laughs so hard he stops advancing. I drop to one knee and cut him down just above the ankles. His mech faceplants. I jump clear. The remaining 2 are more cautious, circling me. One has a powered hammer, the other a laser axe. Just give me the pilot. You can have the rest of the loot. Aha, no way, Shorty. She's the best part. Just as fine in person as she sounds on the comms, the hammer wielder says. Kai, maximum jump jets. Right away, sir. Flying into the air, I give Hammer Dude the finger. He swings and misses. I keep going up, far higher than either of these dummies could manage. They try anyway, hitting their jets to pursue me like I'm not destined to come back down in a few seconds anyway. Cut thrusters. Of course, sir. I fall on them, whirling in a circle of blades and short-range gunfire. My right hand slashes with the sword. My left blasts the laser axe guy as he winds up a strike that will cut me in half if it connects. We pass each other. They're still climbing while I'm falling like a rock. A second later, I stick my landing and watch them burst into pieces. There are 3 other Blade Corps mechs not accounted for. My analysis suggests they left the area. They ran away, Kai. We did it. Kicked their asses. We. Don't get snarky with me, Kai. I'll get you a real personality when I get paid. That would be useless, but thank you, sir. Where is Danielle? Kai scans the wreckage of the Blade Corps camp. In the prisoner box, sir. They converted her airship cockpit to a confinement vessel and were dragging it over the ground with tow cables. I see her. Give me options for extracting her without getting her killed. You should be able to peel open the canopy with brute force. It's made to keep things out, not resist being pulled apart. I swipe away a pile of debris and look through the nearly translucent canopy. The clear steel is tempered to protect her from the harsh upper atmosphere of doomsday. She's not blonde, much to my surprise, or even a redhead. Her unconscious face is, "Are you disappointed, sir? I sense an elevated heart rate," Kai asks. I'm worried she's injured. If I open the canopy, she could require medical attention I can't provide, I say, taking in her short, silky brown hair. She's going to be pissed when she wakes up. Recommendation: strip away the excess material on the pod and carry the cockpit. It is, to all intents and purposes, a life pod. There are a large number of Blade Corps units approaching this location at full speed. You should be able to carry the escape pod, even though you're just a Ranger class. Now it's just me who's a Ranger class mech. You're in here too, Kai. Better help me get out of this mess. Recommendation: run really fast. Lifting Danielle's escape pod prison, I set off for the nearest UCOW base. Get back here, Merc. We've got a score to settle. You owed us a stack of credits before. Now your ass is ours. A voice blares in my comms. Kai, can you mute that radio traffic? I am doing my best. Are you running as fast as you can, sir? Not even close. Why not? I want the Blade Corps assholes to think they have a chance. That is illogical and risky. My computer artificial intelligence has a point, but I'm laughing my ass off as I race away from the mountains and toward the UCOW control spaceport. There's a column of mechs and support vehicles returning from the Foxtrot assault. I don't see Goliath, either captured or contracted, but I think I see Sheila and Stacy driving on the farthest flank from me. I hope it's them. They're not heavy. They're my sisters. I mean, they're heavier than me, but not the biggest brutes out here. Danes are good and brave, and that's why we fucking win. Luck helps. Being too stupid to die is icing on the cake. Just let me put her down. She needs a medic, and maybe a cutting torch to open her escape pod. Stand back, Merc, the UCOW base Marines order. It's easy to raise my slightly battered and frequently refurbished mech hands. The Marines are piloting even lighter machines than I am, but 3 out of 4 control rocket batteries mounted on the walls. One has authority to call down orbital strikes, but I don't know which of them it is. They never share interesting information like that. Paranoid jerks. Anyone who crosses them is risking annihilation not even a Goliath-class warrior could take. That's how a major power like UCOW defends their assets. Big guns and sneaky tricks. I'm pretty stoked they let me inside the walls this time. Sheila and Stacy enter through the south gate and pop their canopies. Hey, brother. You made it with your girlfriend, Stacy says. Good to see you, sis. Thanks for helping me out with the Goliath. The Marines stare at me with wide eyes. You fought a Goliath-class mech warrior? I shrug, which they can see because my canopy is open, per UCOW visitor regulations. Just a thing. He's a tough little jerk, Sheila says, brushing past me and dismounting her mech to check on Danielle, who the medics are prepping to rush to the base hospital. I think she'll be okay. The medical staff here gets a lot of practice. I'm bummed about Danielle. I'll stop by when she gets out. Tell her thanks. We all know I won't. First of all, the pain-in-the-ass gate guards probably won't let me in. And second of all, I'll be busy tracking down the mech I stole and salvaging the parts. Stacy meets me at the feet of our mechs. On land, I tower over her. She's small, and I'm average-ish. A little more than average. Solid. Definitely big enough to beat the crap out of some shit-talking mercs in the bar for what they said about Danielle. But not today. Another time, when I'm not hustling. Stacy and Sheila each give me a hug. "How are you really?" Stacy asks. Shrugging and smiling at the same time, I pull them in for a big one. They push me away and laugh. "I'm Shorty," I say. That explains it all.